morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo First Series Nafshi here on the Hovzik Yaakov number 6 in the Beit Knesset of Chanukah Yeshiva. This is our second shir in Berura. We're in Orach Chaim, Siman Kuf Zayin. Person who's doubtful whether he davened or not, what's he supposed to do? So the Mechaber and with the help of the Berura, Bez Yesham will begin to try and understand the situations and the halachas which are relevant to that type of a case. Let's begin with the Mechaber. Michelle, you'd like to begin reading for us?
Yes.
Im
Hamsupuk im Hispalel. There's a suffix if he davened. Im hu Misupuk im Hispalel. There's a suffix if he davened.
So a person's in doubt, did he daven or not? One of the three tefillas, Mincha, Ma'ariv, and Shabbos, he had a doubt whether he davened is Shmona Esrei. So what's he supposed to do in the situation of doubt?
Says Choizel Mispalel. It's to go back and daven.
To go back and daven.
Eina tzarach HaKodesh shum davar.
He's not required to add anything new from what he would have previously davened. If he previously davened, then we'll see in case of a tefillas nedavar, then he has to add something new. But in the case where he's not sure if he davened or not, so he doesn't have to add anything new to his Shmona Esrei. We'll understand what that means as we get further on with the halachos.
What about the principle, Deraisa, Chumra, Rabbanan, Kula?
Yeah, very good. This will be a point that the Mishna is going to be dealing with. Normally, Lou was mentioning the point that we have a suffix in a deraisa, let's say whether he heard shofar or not, whether he took a lulav or not, whether he ate matzah or not, halachos which are clearly deraisa, suffix deraisa l'chumra. That's the general Birchas HaMazon also. Birchas HaMazon is the brachas which are deraisa. So a person's besupik, whether he did one of those mitzvahs, he has to go back and do it again. Right? The bracha, however, in most cases, he will not repeat the bracha on a suffix because it's a suffix in a derabbanan, which is l'kula. Right? So we have here, which apparently tefillah b'shmona esrei is derabbanan. Right? So why is he required to go back if he has a suffix in the derabbanan? He should obviously be parted from a suffix. So that's Lou's question. We'll see the answer should be waiting for us in the Mishna. Go ahead, Yisrael, continue.
Eina Pesach, he doesn't stop.
Huh? What, where are you holding?
Oh.
Avo, im boilo, she's follow, if he's clear to him that he did in fact daven. Eina tzurach le'espalo lo chilush. He cannot go back and daven without anything new being added to his Shmona Esrei.
Knowing that he could go back and daven again. If he davened and he realized, I forgot to ask for help with such and such.
Mm-hmm.
He'd go back and re-daven and then ask for help with such
That's
and such.
That's what we call tefillas nedavar, a free will offering, right? Free will prayer. So we'll discuss that in the Mishna Berura and the Bir Halacha. We'll get to it, maybe not today, as to whether or not we do that in our time. Because first of all, we have our three major prayers. Second of all, if you want to ask for something from HaKodesh Baruch Hu, you're not limited to praying only during Shmona Esrei. You can approach HaKodesh Baruch Hu anytime. It's not the formality of a Shmona Esrei. And also, even if you would want to daven tefillas nedavar, since we'll discuss that with Bir Halacha, Hayata mentions that our concentration in prayer is not so great today, so it's not advisable to have a prayer of a nedavar unless it's absolutely necessary.
What does that mean, nedavar?
A nedavar literally means a voluntary offering. It's a nedavar. We use those nedavas in terms of karbonos, the offerings in the basic English. Those nedarim and nedavas. Right? There are certain karbonos which are shlomim, oilus, chatos. Those are obligatory, right? Offerings, and then you have nedavas and nedarim. You have in this case prayers, but you're talking about karbonos, offerings which in the basic English were brought by free will they were voluntary, and we didn't have an obligation to bring them.
You're saying you shouldn't say your personal prayer?
Not in terms of using the context of Shemona Esrei. You have 3 times you daven Shemona Esrei.
Right.
Winter, Morev, and Shacharis.
Right.
In terms of davening an extra, you wanted to go now and daven Shemona Esrei, it's usually not advisable to be doing that.
Right, but when you daven the one Shemona Esrei that you're davening, then is it appropriate to say your personal prayer?
At the end of your Shemona Esrei, yeah. At the end of your personal Shemona Esrei is very
What about in Shema Kolenu?
That's also an opportunity to do it. Right? Whether it's advisable, it's depending on the circumstances. In general, let's go through the steps. According to the Vilna Gaon, in general, it's not advisable to add anything personal until the very end of your Shemona Esrei. All your 19 prayers of Shemona Esrei, your 19 prayers of Shemona Esrei are really meant to be for the sake of Klal Yisrael. Right? So you don't. That's why everything is in the plural, nu, like Rafei nu, right? Everything is Shema Kolenu, right? Everything is in the plural, right? So basically, those are prayers. You're being a representative of Klal Yisrael to pray for the needs of Klal Yisrael as a group, right? If you want to add anything else personal, then at the end of your very end of Shemona Esrei, at then you can add as much as you want at the very end of Shemona Esrei. There are places like Shema Kolenu and other places where there are opportunities to add certain private, personal requests, and the general populace is accustomed to do that. So if you're doing it, you're doing nothing wrong. You want to show me something here?
Oh, I did have a question.
Yeah.
If it's bari low, then there's no suffix. So what are we talking about?
Oh, because that'll be the plain halacha of Tfilas Nadava. He wants to simply daven again. He wants to daven another prayer to Hashem. Really, we should be praying to Hashem all the whole day long. That's what the Mishna was going to add. Really, there's so many things to thank Him and ask HaKodesh Baruch Hu for. We should really be in a situation of prayer constantly. Right?
So this is a different case that we're using as an example. Right?
Yeah, this is a borilo, right? The first case is a mesufik, someone who's in doubt. The second case is a bori. He's clearly davened already, and now he wishes to pray once more again. Yeah.
So what does it mean, chidush? If you're not saying your personal prayer, what is the chidush?
Oh, good. Okay, good. We'll get to that also. What does it mean to mechadush something? It could be extra kavanah. He has more kavanah than something he didn't in Yerushalyim. So he thinks much more deeply into the situation of Yerushalyim and how it has to be rebuilt and Tsama David and things like this much more deeply. Not necessarily in terms of actual requests. We'll see what's a show. Okay, let's begin the Mishnah. We're not going to. The Machaber goes to other details about Shabbos and Musaf, and so we'll see those things after we get the basic introduction taken care of by the Mishnah Berura here. Simchat Malik and the Mishnah Berura. Got it, Yisrael?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mispalel. Inyan Krishma, the Birchasaya, regarding the matter of Krishma and its brachas, in Mistapik. Ayin La'el, the Siyabad, the Simon Top.
Okay, so it's already previously discussed here in Simon Sadik Zayin. If a person is in doubt about having said Shema and the brachas, what should you do then? Because that's the Shema is the Raisa, and the brachas are the Rabbanim, but since they're attached to the Raisa, in some cases they could be considered to be like the Raisas themselves. Okay, but now we're talking about prayer in Sivkatan Beis.
Closer Mispalel. Masne makes a condition for Omer and says, Imlai is Balati Tehei Lechavoisi. Should Faden Davin should be from a Chiyah, right?
Obligation, right? So before he starts davening, he should think to himself and say, if I did not daven, so this is going to be my obligation that I'm fulfilling. And if I did daven, this prayer shall not be a voluntary prayer.
So that's if he's not sure, that's if it's a subject.
That's when he makes a sub. He's doubt, he has to make a tonight. If I did daven, so this is going to be an adult. But if I didn't daven, it's going to be an obligation. And here's your question, Lou. This is the mission. We're addressing your question.
The FLP, even though Shakal Suffolk Nativa Sofrim, all of this is a Suffolk Nativa Sofrim.
In every Alphabet should call subject with different sofrim lahakil, even though in every case of a suffix in a doubt in a halacha, which is midurabanan, a hakil, you always are lenient. Here, nevertheless,
goes back and daven.
You go back and daven. Why? Right.
Alavai means, what does it mean?
Alavai, if only.
Only a person will daven every day with Torah and daven. Are you the chilush?
If only a person would daven all the day long, right? With the Torah to daven and with a new insight into his prayers. Give the comment, as we'll explain later. So that's the answer. Why is it that normally you'll say Safek Rabbanan Lahakel, and here by prayer Shmona Esrei, which is a Dun Rabbanan, you don't say Safek Rabbanan Lahakel, because really you're supposed to. We should be praying all day long, right? But so we can't. So we follow the law that you daven 3 prayers, Mincha, Marav, and Shakas. But for some reason, if you doubted whether you did one of those 3 prayer services, so you can go ahead and daven another time, even though it's a subject to Rabbanan. Normally lahakir, we say here, no, it's lahakir, and you will go ahead and pray again, because it's different than another subject to Rabbanan. Let's say, what's a subject to Rabbanan? Subject to Rabbanan would be, let's say, you heard, you're in doubt as to whether or not you heard one of the Megillas. Well, let's say you were in doubt as to whether you gave Shalach Monos. Shalach Monos is in the Rabban. Not the rice, there's no rice.
There's no bracha there, so it doesn't matter if you do it or not.
Oh, so yeah.
We're talking about some bracha, we're talking...
So, you see, you're asking a different question. Lou was asking what the Mishna mentioned, Safek the Rabbanan Lahakil. You're asking a question, whatever happened to Safek the Rabbanan, Safek the Brachas Lahakil? That's a different question.
Okay.
Hold on to that. Hold on to that. You're right. First of all, we don't. By let's say by you have Sholach Monos. So there's no bracha on that anyway, right? So Sabbath Rabbanan, right? You would say L'Kula. You don't have to go out and give another set of Sholach Monos. Maybe if you can, if you again, if there's no difficulty in doing it, so fine, right? But let's say there is some difficulty in doing it. Let's say you don't have the money or something, you're not able to do it for some reason, right? It's going to be a tirka. Let's say you question whether you missed hearing one of the Megillas, right? Megillas Esther might be different because that's presuming Nisa. That might be, well, let's say Ner Hanukkah, the Rabban with bracha. With the bracha, right? So you're in doubt whether or not you did it or not. How the doubt crept into your mind, whatever. You woke up the next morning, it was a big party last night, big Hanukkah party, right? You found yourself, at home, and you don't know, and you'll never know if you did Hanukkah the menorah, right? So the Omer Midirabbanan, according to many of the poskim, right? So in that case, in those cases, in general, Safek Rabbanan L'Kula, you don't have to repeat or go ahead and do it again, right?
You don't have to, you can.
Well, if it's a bracha, you can't.
That's okay.
Right? If you can, so again, if it's easy to do, then
I understand.
Right? Here you're saying it's different than another Din D'Rabbanan, because we're really supposed to be davening all day long. We're not supposed to give him Sholach Monos all day long. We give him Sholach Monos, and that's it. We're not supposed to hear Shir Shirim or Eicha, all the time. You hear it once, and that's it. You're mesupik whether you heard it. So it's something for Rabbanan Lahakel. You don't have to really go and hear it again. Right? But what Amram's asking is, well, what's the point? What about the point of Shabbat brachas lahakim? Right? That should be a consideration over here, right? Which we don't happen to see at this particular point. Maybe we'll get to it. Hold on, right? And that could be why you have to be machadish something. Machadish something, so that means it's a whole new obligation of a Shmona Esrei. It has a din of nedava, right? There is such a thing as a nedava, right? So it's not brachas la v'tala, right? But you have to mechadish something. You have to do that. We'll get to the details about that later on, right? So that by trying to mechadish something within the context of a regular Shmona Esrei, right? What that means, we'll see. But that could take off the question of the subject brachas. Okay.
But that's complex because you have a bracha with 18 brachas, 19 brachas.
Right.
So if you're mechadesh something in bracha number 3, does that help you with bracha number 1?
Oh, so because it's like the whole thing is taken as a package deal.
It is.
Right. The whole thing. Once you're willing to set out to daven a Shmona Esrei, right? So it's enough that you mechadish just one thing. You don't have to do 18, 19 new different things for each bracha. It's a bit of a chiddush.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a package deal.
I see.
That's what the Berura said, right? Alpha P should call subject Nadivrei Soifim Lahakil. Nevertheless, Hacha in our case, Chozum is followed, go back and daven again, and then She'alavai is follow Adam Kol Hayom. If only a person would be praying the whole day long, the Torah's Nedava Ayidei Kiddush. And if he was only spending his whole days praying,
The whole day's praying meaning what? You constantly say Shmona Esrei? I'm just trying to understand. That's
literally that what it means. Yeah, literally, if a person would be davening the whole day long, saying Shmona Esrei after Shmona Esrei, Shmona Esrei, right? That would be a great thing. I mean, that's really what we're obligated to do.
wow.
But we don't, because we have other things to take care of in life. So Hashem's satisfied, so to speak, with us traveling 3 times.
So I'm surprised you say that because don't we have this idea that there were people in times of the Gemara that davened 3 hours for each davening.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say the Shemona Esrei over and over again. They prepared for an hour.
Right.
They said the Shemona Esrei for an hour,
Right.
but only once. They just said it slowly,
Correct.
and then they did I guess things afterwards to cool down. So to
I
speak.
think you answered your own question. Being that they took 3 hours, an hour for preparation, an hour for saying up or coming down, we who don't have that kind of things, the repeating it for us would be equivalent to their saying it for 3 hours each one.
No, but what I'm asking is, wouldn't we want to model it after that and not say Shemona Esrei over and over again, but say like Psukei de Zimra and
Right.
other things that fill in the part of the package.
I think that when we're trying to understand the context of Shmona Esrei is important. We have to realize that we're standing with Pnei HaMelech. We're in a whole different realm of the relationship with HaKodesh Baruch Hu. For example, even though that Birchas Hamazon is D'oraisa, and it's explained that many tzaddikim have said about themselves that they put more effort into concentrating in Birchas Hamazon than in Shmona Esrei, because Birchas Hamazon is D'oraisa, right? But you're not standing in front of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Even though Mishna Berura says when you bench, you should wear a hat, right? You should do it the table should be somewhat clean, different ways. Some like to have the food on the table, some say not to have the food on the table, because when the chef of Baruch comes this way, okay, those are details. Details. But but it should be done in a very special way, because we're doing a mitzvah d'oraisa after all, right? But you're not standing in front of HaKodesh Baruch Hu as a person asking from the Ribono Shel Olam, the creator of the whole world, the things that Klal Yisrael needs and he personally needs, right? But that's really what we should be doing. We should really be the Talmidim ask Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, right? How come the man in the Midbar didn't fall once a year. They fall once a year. They take a whole load of it. They had plenty of donkeys, and they'll load up the donkeys and carry their man from place to place, and they'll be supplied once a year. So the Shimon Yochai gave an answer with a mashal. He said there was a king, and he had his son, the prince, right? So he said we're going to give the prince his allowance once a year, right? Once a year. So the prince would show up to the palace once a year when he get his allowance. He says, "Hi Tati, how you doing? How King, how you doing?" He says, "Fine, good." He gave him whatever he needed for his year. So long till next year, right? So the king was feeling a bit bad. He likes his son. He wants to see his son more. So one of his advisors said, "Give him his allowance every day, just enough for the next day, and then you see him a lot more." So even in the midbar with the man, Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted that we should be constantly expecting, wanting to be with him. That devekis, that connection with the Kadosh Baruch Hu that's created because we have needs and we want Hashem to fulfill those needs. So that's on a daily basis much better, because Hashem could give it to us on a yearly basis, right? But we would lose out that connection with the Kadosh Baruch Hu that's necessary for us. Hashem doesn't need that connection. Hashem's not lacking anything by definition. But we need that connection on a daily basis. Right? For our sakes, we need to have that connection. Likewise, we have to be connected 3 times a day to Shemona Esrei to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Right? Really, we should be connected in that way every minute of every second day. Should we see something that be coming? Take a look at the first siman in Shulchan Aruch. It says, "Should we see Hashem and then be coming?" And this is really what we should be experiencing, right? So take a look at the first siman there, very first pages. Aleph, right? So read the Mechaber, and it's really in the Ramah, but read the Mechaber just to get a running start. He's Gaber.
Gaber, Ka'ari, Va'amod, V'boker. You should get up in the morning.
Good.
Va'avodas, to serve Boro, to serve his
Creator.
creator.
Right, so it's actually this Gaber Kari, a person should awaken like a lion, the Amo to
So Ka'ari,
right, this Gaber Kari, a person should strengthen himself like a lion, the Amo to get up in the morning, to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu, who was created.
Sheyehei hu ma'od rare, that it is that he arises hashachar, in the morning.
He should be the one to arouse the morning, meaning
Rouse the morning.
Right, the birds chirping and the sun streaming in to his pillow. That's not what should be waking him up. He should be waking up in the morning. He should be waking up the birds and having the sun shine up. Right, Hagah, this is the Ramah.
Ba'al kol panim, in all cases, nevertheless, lo yi'acher zaman hatefila. He should not be yacher, another.
Delay.
He should not delay the time of tefillah. She'hatzibur, that the congregation halalim is praying. So he shouldn't, even though he's getting up like a lion and infusing the world with all this energy, he shouldn't miss.
Meaning, on the case that a person can't do that, he should at least not delay more than the time of tefillah that the congregation is dominating. And if you can't get up at the crack of dawn, right? So you should at least get up at the time to make a minyan. Really, you should be getting up at the crack of dawn, right? But since not everyone's able to do that, not every day. So if you can't do that, so you should at least make sure you can make tefillah b'tzibur. Now here's what we want now.
Shivisi Hashem le negdei tamid What's Shivisi?
Excuse me? No, I have placed. It's like, like I have placed Hashem Lenegditam. I have placed Hashem
Opposite.
oppositely, continuously.
Continuously.
And he's always thinking of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. He's constantly thinking of Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Hu Kalal Gadol. This is the great rule. The Torah in Torah. Uva Ma'alos HaTzadikim Asher Holchim Lifnei HaElokim. And they go up, the righteous people that travel before Hashem.
Yeah, so it's
Holchim is to travel, right?
that they're like walking. It's a phrase that's used by Avraminu. This is the milus, the advantage of the tzaddikim. It's the advantage of the virtue of the tzaddikim. It's the virtue of the tzaddikim, the righteous, that they are holchim lifnei Elokim. They are walking before HaKodesh Baruch Hu. They're like in the presence of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. And why should that be?
That's right.
Yeah, it explains. Ki ein.
Ki ein Yeshiva, Ha'adam Usnu Osav. And it's not sitting, Yeshivas.
Right, that it's Ki ein Yeshivas Adam, that the there's like the dwelling, like Yeshivas, like the Yeshivas Eretz Yisrael is like the dwelling in Eretz Yisrael. And so Ki ein Yeshivas Adam, the dwelling of a person
should not be Usnu Osav.
That's his behavior.
And his behavior, v'asakav,
His activities.
and his activities, v'hu levado, and he alone, v'so, in his house, kishivaso, as that he's sitting, as that he's dwelling,
Right.
usnu osav, and acting, v'asakav, and acting again.
Like no, Tenuos is like his behavior.
His behavior
And Asakos is his activities.
his activities. V'hu lifnei melech, and he is in front of the king, Gadol, the great one.
So it's like this. Ki ein yeshivas ha'adam tenuosav ha'asokov hu levado bebeso ki yeshivosoi usnosav usasav hu lifnei melech hagadol. It's not a person's dwelling and his behavior and his activities when he's by himself in his house the same as his dwelling and his behaviors and his activities are when it's in front of a great king.
Uh-huh.
And it's a whole different attitude and approach and behavior that the person exhibits when he's by himself or when he's in front of a great king. Like that. You ever be tailed by a cop on the highway?
Oh yeah.
So what happens to you when you see all of a sudden he's
Heart starts beating faster.
he's just behind you. He's not the light's not on yet. Right?
Look at the speedometer more.
Yeah. Why? Well, what's going on? He's just a cop.
Yeah. He can do a lot of damage.
You don't want to get a ticket.
Yeah. Before we were going with 68, 78, 68, whatever the speed limits these. What's the speed limit these days? What's the new speed limit these days?
Where?
In New York.
New York, it's 50, 55.
55.
It's 65 when you're outside of the main area.
Yeah, so 65. So you're doing 70.
We're going 72. Now you cut it down to 64.
All of a sudden we go, wow, there's a cop behind me. Why? What changed? That's the point here,
Hashem was sitting next to you the whole time.
That's right.
And he sent it to you, so be careful.
That's what it means. Shvisi Hashem Le'Gitami. You have to behave as if Hashem. Hashem is there all the time. But you have to behave as if you know it all the time. That's
Right.
that's the trick. You have to behave as if you know it all the time. That's the trick of the tzaddikim. That's the milas. That's the milas, the virtues of the tzaddikim, that they work on it so much that it becomes a reality. It is a reality, but they make it a reality for themselves. They don't ignore it. They try and work on it so it becomes a clear reality. It's like it's even more real than that cap, because what can that cap? What the most the cap can do? Not that much. That's the most. That's the
Nothing
most.
compared to what Hashem.
No. Right. Okay, we'll have to stop. So that's so really we should be in that situation all the time of being in front of a HaKodesh Baruch Hu as the king, and that's the way it is. And that's what we said. So halavai, we should have it all day long that way. That should be, but we have to take care of what we have to. And wants us to learn. He wants us to do other things. No, we can't be in that situation constantly. So if a person's Mesufik, you can go ahead and daven.
Is it halavai if we were malachim, or halavai even as people?
Even if we were saving people, halavai, that would be. That's going to be our situation in Olam Haba. Olam Haba is going to be a complete situation of serving HaKodesh Baruch Hu.
I thought it was more passive. I thought the tzaddikim sort of sit and take in the Shekhinah.
Tzaddikim Yoshvim, it's
more active than that.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Gemara that talks about Yehuda?
Yeah.
And he's in Yeshiva and Yerushalyim.
Right.
He can't keep up, and Moshe davens for him so that he can do better.
Yeah, good morning, Marcus. Right, exactly.
So the idea there is that you're in Yeshiva,
Right.
and you're learning,
Right.
participating.
Sure.
What are you doing there?
Oh no, I just wanted to mention about the Olam Haba. So it's really the last point in the more Brachas. If I'm not mistaken. We'll be learning Nafshi in a few minutes. Okay. Shir is officially over, but let's see here. The last Gemara in Brachas come out almost. Speaks about the Tsama Gimel Amid Aleph. Rashi says here, question about mentioning the Kol Kach Lama, every time the Mishna spoke about, every time they would make a bracha in the base of Mikdash, they would say Baruch Shem Kamol Kamol. Kol Kach Lama, why? Did you say no Amen in Mikdash? Because he didn't say Amen in the base of Mikdash. When I am saying no Amen by Mikdash, how do you know that you don't say Amen in the base of Mikdash? And then Kumu, it says in the pasuk Kumu Baruch Hu Es Hashem Elokeichem Mina Olam Va'ad Olam Va'omer Yivaruchu Es Shem Yichovidecha Umiram Al Kol Bracha V'Techila Yochel. So that's what it says in the pasuk. Yochel Kol Brachas Kul Te'en Lehen Techila Achas Alom Mimorom Al Kol Bracha V'Techila Al Kol Bracha Te'en Lo Techila. You have to give praise to every bracha. Right? So the Rashi explains here, I'm not going to go into the Yivarach Hu Shem V'Kavodecha. Baruch Shem Kavod Zon V'Ed. Only. That's what they would say. Amivorach also Baruch Hashem Elokei Yisrael Mina Olam Va'ad Olam. That's what he would say. Right? The person that would say the bracha, the person would say the bracha, then you would respond Baruch Shem and the one who said the bracha would respond in secondarily Baruch Hashem Elokei Yisrael Mina Olam Va'ad Olam. Before Tosefta Shetiknu Mina Olam Va'ad Olam, they made a special takana to make this expression Mina Olam Va'ad Olam, from this world Va'ad Olam, and eternally Odia She'en Olam Hazeh Lefnei Olam Haba Klum Elek Prosdo. You should know that this world is only like a hallway, a prosdor leading to the next world, right? Kolome, Shanhigo b'brachoso ba'olam hazeh, that you should be accustomed to say brachas, his brachas, say brachas to Hashem. You should be accustomed to say brachas to HaKodesh Baruch Hu ba'olam hazeh, kedei Lios regilim la'olam haba shekulo ora. That you should be habituated to them, you should be ruggled, it should be routine for you when you get to olam haba, which is going to be kol ora. So this world we have to practice saying blockus eternal. Right. So this world we have to practice making brachas, right? Because when you get to olam haba, that's going to be the basic situation, right? Just like the malachim are constantly singing shira praises to HaKodesh Baruch Hu, so we'll enter olam haba, which is completely eternal, and we'll be taking our place in that praising of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu. You're right. There's such a thing as a yeshiva, right? And there's even more talks about that. So you have to realize there could be different times, different places in the next world. Well, that whole, I don't have a clear map of the Olam Haba, so I don't really know if it's uncharted territory.
That's your homework.
Well, it's uncharted territory. Uncharted. I know Russell.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Good to see you back.
Hey.